What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Everyday Struggle. Nadeska here with Akademiks and Wayno. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning.
I was hoping it was Thursday, but I'm here. What's good? What's poppin'?
Middle of the week. I like it.
What do you like about it? You just took a nap in the green room.
Yeah.
All right.
This is almost Friday.
His life is a nap. His whole life is a fucking nap.
It's the only time Akademiks actually sleeps in the green room right before the show.
That's facts.
So it's kind of slow news week, so we are going to answer a lot of fan questions today, but let's start with some legal updates because it feels like that's just all we do here at Everyday Struggle these days. So you guys remember last week, YBN Almighty Jay was named as a suspect in a felony grand theft case involving Skinny from the 9. So he turned himself into police last night. TMZ actually caught up with him as he was about to walk into the LAPD station. Of course, they asked him if he was guilty, to which he responded, "Hell no, I'm not guilty. I didn't do anything." And he later admitted that he was in the surveillance video that surfaced, but denies having any involvement in the robbery. So, Ak, what do you think about this development? You had some doubts that this was a real robbery to begin with.
The situation, as I said, this is a fake robbery turned real. So, listen, I don't know nothing about YBN Almighty Jay being involved. Clearly, it appears that from what I was told, Skinny from the 9's relative who was supposedly there filed a police report. Of course, they're not going to mention that Skinny from the 9's relative filed a police report, so it just says Skinny from the 9 filed a report. But yeah, the cops take anything about robbery or anything like that very seriously. That's going to be a felony. And when they got surveillance tapes and when y'all were already trying to do some fake shit anyways, so everybody got their phones out, yeah, it's not too hard kind of coming up with evidence to get people locked up. So unfortunately, YBN Almighty Jay got locked up. He did get out, $25,000 bond, but he is charged with a felony for robbery, which again is pretty sad given the fact that this could have been something just for internet clout. Who knows what happened, why it went wrong, whatever was involved. But it's just sad to see that this is the outcome. And also, listen, rappers file police reports. So this whole thing of people thinking that because you're a rapper, somebody will prosecute you for you getting them knocked out, it's not gonna happen, not in 2018. Rappers will tell on you, rappers will file a police report.
Rappers definitely tell, but what I like to add is like stupid games, stupid prizes, stupid rewards. I mean, you staging a robbery. I don't know. This shit is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like it's not ever, but one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Right.
All right, I wish we didn't have to keep reporting on these stories, but they just keep coming up. Every time we want to talk about someone doing well and the music going well, then something like this happens. Hopefully they work this all out and no one ends up in any terrible situation.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. For YBN Almighty Jay and also Skinny from the 9, two guys who I've communicated with, they seem like pretty okay individuals. I would hope in 2019 we talk a little bit more about their music, which I do believe both of them need a hit right now, more than these type of shit. I don't like this.
Almighty Jay is more popular than Skinny from the 9, but I feel you. Way more popular.
Always need a hit. Always need a hit.
We'll see what happens. All right, so we got a little fun fact for you guys. So according to Nick Diamond, who's the founder of Diamond Supply Co., Rick Ross was actually interested in signing Tyler, the Creator, shortly after he released Yonkers. So during an interview with Complex recently, he said that at the time Ross called, Tyler was actually in his store. He said, quote, "It was funny because when he called me, Tyler was here standing next to me. He told him Rick Ross wanted to talk to him, and Tyler goes, I don't want to talk." I'm sure a lot of people were reaching out to Tyler at that point, right? So he probably didn't want to take all the calls, but can you imagine a universe in which Tyler was signed to Ross, considering what Tyler has built over the past few years?
Absolutely not. But that's Tyler's personality. I could actually hear him saying some shit like that. I think that at the time, Rick Ross was trying to sign everybody. I think it was on Rap Fix. He had offered Wiz Khalifa. He wanted to sign Wiz Khalifa, and Wiz was like, I appreciate it, but no. I think Rick Ross got a real ear for talent, but everything doesn't really work under his brand. I think the furthest he's ever gone left that worked was Wale.
Yeah.
He signed Rocky Fresh, that didn't work out. He signed Stolly, that didn't work out either, but I think it didn't work because they never really fit the brand of MMG.
Right.
And even Wale, Wale was doing a lot of things that we had never seen from Wale at the time, but I think overall it worked for Wale because he stayed kind of true to his roots, essentially. But Rick Ross has an ear for talent, an ear for beats. I think Rick Ross should be an executive, or he should have an executive seat at one of these labels, like nurturing talent on a larger scale, but that wouldn't have worked at all.
Yeah, that's a good point. And when you're an artist who's breaking out and everyone's interested, I wonder if you feel a lot of pressure being in that position, knowing who to turn down, which phone calls to actually take. What do you think, Ak?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think Ross is I've gone to bat for Ross when it comes to like him being an executive. I feel like he does a great job putting his artists on the forefront while he's still an artist himself. Again, he does have a good ear for music, whether or not it's his album or not. I just don't like hearing this shit though. Like, I've been thinking, this be corny when I be hearing it. Like, I don't care. Like, I be hearing mad people going like these interviews. Like, they be doing it with Drake a lot. Yo, I could have signed Drake in 2006. Don't care, okay? Everything works out for a reason. Like, some of these parents you couldn't even imagine. I can't imagine Tyler, the Creator, on MMG. You get me? And obviously, you know, like, the chips are gonna fall how they may, because he didn't want to talk to Ross. Maybe nothing probably against Ross, but like that wasn't the energy they were on. It worked out for the best for everybody else. These things are cool little fun facts, but
Nah, you just shit all over the fun facts.
Nah,
and then you're saying it's a cool little fun fact.
Kanye wanted to sign Odd Future too. Kanye wanted the whole Odd Future at the time. But everybody in a like every time an artist gets hot, everybody's gonna call. It's not just one person. I'm pretty sure like everybody you could think of at the time who was in some sort of executive seat, whether it's an artist or not, was probably calling Tyler. The thing with Tyler is like, and that's what I loved about him, he didn't give a fuck. He was like, I'm building my own shit. And when you look up, damn, shit, by next year, will it be almost 10 years that Our Future came out? Like 2010, 2011.
2011, I think.
But I think it was 2010 when they first dropped, and then 2011 when they really caught their big.
Really blew up, yeah.
Yeah, but it's almost 10 years, but he's not even 30 years old yet, has a 10-year career, cartoons, shows, all types of shit. His brand is booming. They do the Flognaw festival now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it worked out for him.
All his cartoon shows, yeah, he's built like a mini empire. That's keep building.
A lot of artists, and it was Khalifa said as well, he's like, you know, no disrespect to Ross, but, you know, building my own thing with Taylor Gang. And at the time, I think he was still independent through Rostrum. You know, so everybody has a different trajectory. I don't think that would have worked.
Okay. All right, we're off the fun fact act. We can move on now. You good?
Yeah, he had this shit all over that, right?
Oh, man. I told you it's a slow news week. Never, he only wants this shit on it once we start talking. Never before.
Is there anybody who reached out to you as an artist, like early on, that wanted you to cover them and you didn't, and then they blew up?
Nah, usually every time somebody blows up, I'll go back and I'll hit the message button to see if they messaged me before. Sometimes they did.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, but like, there's never like a hard dub, like, you know, like somebody hits you up like, yo, you're like, yo, you're whack, I'm not gonna cover you, and then they actually blow up. But yeah, no, I always look at shit like this, like actually being the first and being the person, like you can imagine, well, Tyler was a different case, but a lot of these artists, usually the first person who's kind of on that hits you up, you're more inclined to sign with them, like again, especially if you haven't had any contact with anyone in the industry.
Yeah.
So I'm always kind of interested to see who's kind of ahead of the curve.
Well, Our Future, the funny thing about them is they were saying fuck everybody at that time. So like with him, with the whole thing with him saying he didn't want to talk to Ross. Like he probably said, I don't want to talk to no Rick Ross. But because they didn't really give a fuck about none they was doing. They were just skating on Fairfax all day and built a whole entire brand just sitting in front of the Diamond Supply store. So they knew that they had something tangible that could possibly grow. You can't imagine Odd Future / MMG. Like, I feel like that would be a really good comedy skit.
Yeah.
Like, not even trying to be funny. That would be a good comedy skit because they would have never, like, that shit would have never worked. Like, Tyler would have been walking in like, what, y'all niggas got all this jewelry? Like, just his personality wouldn't
have
match.
made sense at all. You're completely right. All right, y'all. Fan question time.
Enjoy.
This first one I like. Pretty reasonable question. Why do artists or labels choose to release projects on the same day as other known artists? Pump, Gunna, and Offset all dropped on the 22nd. Wouldn't it make more sense to have an isolated date? This happens a lot. We saw it a lot last year. Triple, quadruple releases in 1 week.
Because they don't know. Like, no, they don't, everybody doesn't communicate like, hey, everybody, we're dropping on the 22nd. Are you guys dropping as well?
The music industry is so small, though. You hear a lot of things behind the scenes, so you feel like that never
the whole thing
gets
about
around?
It does at a certain point. Like, maybe after a week, you'll find out who's dropping that day, and then you're probably not going to move. Like, Pump probably had that date for months.
How hard is it to move your date?
It's hard. It's hard depending on, like, the plan that you put together with your marketing team or just your team, period. Like, it could be very hard because if you're set in stone on that date, you might move to another date and somebody else is going to be dropping too. So there's never, even when you plan, I planned to drop something from one of my artists and Meek dropped the same day. Nobody had no idea that Meek was dropping. So there's no possible way that you can, I'm not going to say you can't plan it out because you definitely could plan it out, but you just got to expect for somebody to be dropping, especially in this time now. People drop shit like every other week or every week.
It's true.
You know, but nobody communicates that. Like Pump is on Warner. He's not gonna call 300 like, yo, it's gonna. Or they're people not calling each other. They usually find out as they're getting everything ingested into the system as to what's coming out. But at that point, it's too late. You can't just switch it.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. Well, if you like say Gunna, Pump, and Offset, I mean, it depends on priority too. Drake, who drops off a Republic UMG, there ain't no other big UMG artist coming that day. That's facts. There's gonna be some communication. It has to be. You got to realize, Warner, Universal, and Sony, they compete for market share. So they're not gonna. You're fucking yourself over if you're throwing out two of your artists. Now, whatever, if you're on UMG, you're putting out like one of your big acts. Now, if it's a mid-level act, yeah, you could put out a couple of them on the same day. Like, it really doesn't matter like that.
Yeah.
But like for someone who's gonna demand the attention like Drake, yeah, there's no UMG releases dropping with Drake.
Okay.
You get me? That's why, like, interesting enough, like when we were thinking about when, remember when Drake or Kanye claims that Drake was mad about his date. Kanye drops on Sony, right? Kanye's a big deal on Sony.
Kanye's not on Sony. Kanye's music is still on Def Jam. That's Universal Music Group. That's not Sony. Sony is Columbia, Epic, and RCA. UMG.
For some reason I thought
Universal has, I believe Universal has Interscope, but it's like kind of different divisions. But they have Interscope, they have Republic, they have Def Jam.
Capitol's over there.
Capital is under Universal Music Group as well. But yeah, Kanye's not on Sony. Kanye's still on Def Jam, dog. He still signed Def Jam.
Nah, for some reason I had Def Jam lumped under Sony. That's
Okay.
why.
So let's say Universal. You can still continue your point.
Yeah, no, but still, like that type of communication probably has to you have to have some type of communication for that to happen. You know what I mean?
That level.
Like at that point, you're not just randomly throwing it out. Like the Gunners in them, like for example, Atlantic has a really busy and hectic release schedule. Like if you think about it, they'll drop A Boogie. A Boogie's album dropped the same week as NBA YoungBoy.
Yeah.
And how they deal with their promotion and stuff like that, there's probably some communication, but not that much care that someone else is dropping as opposed to other artists.
Well, I mean, when you look at an NBA YoungBoy and A Boogie, they're two totally different type of artists, and they have their own core fan bases. Like A Boogie, I mean, people might still be discovering him, but a lot of people that engage in his music already know who he is, so they don't kind of get in the way of each other. When you're dealing with a Nicki, like Nicki, Wayne, Drake, they're not dropping around the same time. Like even a Jay, like Jay might not drop it. If everybody hears that Jay's dropping the album, you're not gonna drop that same month. Beyonce, same thing. Like,
but then that happened last year, right? With the Carter album. Was that last year or the year before? It dropped like a week that was also very busy.
It was the same. No, it was the same day as Nas. Like Jay dropped,
yeah.
but nobody had no idea that. And at that point, like with the Nas album, like they were still clearing samples in the 25th hour. That's why it took so long for it to come out that day. But when we're talking about like the Gunners and all these different people, they're not sharing that information. You usually find out once you set your release date, because you can look into the system and see what's dropping. But you might have this date. When you submit your music, they say, all right, these is the dates you have to pick from. If you pick one, you don't know if somebody else is picking some other shit too. So usually that's how they run the scores.
So if you're like a young artist, you pick your day, and a month later you find out Drake is dropping the same week, you just gotta eat it.
I mean, you do, but at the same time,
they wouldn't put you like that's your.
Maybe that's a bad example, but someone big is dropping, or someone.
Nah, that's your label setting you up though.
No,
yeah.
But
so they should know better.
No, but it depends on
even if it's different labels.
It depends on what the label's trying to accomplish. Like if you're a young artist, like I feel like an NBA YoungBoy, if he dropped the same time Drake dropped, it wouldn't be a problem for him only specifically because the kids who really fuck with YoungBoy that's listening to shit all day. Not saying that they don't give a fuck about Drake, because Drake is the biggest artist, but that's not going to cut into what he's got going on. Now, if it's a younger...
No, if you're in the same building, though, as Drake. If they're
not in the same building. No, Atlantic is under Warner Music Group.
That's what I'm saying. But if you were, if the label gives you a day that was, they wouldn't do that. But if the label did that, they set you up.
I mean, I don't give a fuck how good you is. Nobody should drop the same time Drake is dropping. You know what I mean? Like seriously, like you shouldn't drop the same time.
But then Offset and Gunna dropping the same week.
But they both on each other's shit too.
Yeah.
And you got to think about like, yo, these marketing teams, like I knew Atlantic for the 2 weeks before Meek album came out, they only cared about Meek. So imagine if you're another artist about to drop right then. They don't care about your shit. Yeah, they're working Cardi a month before. So you drop in the middle of that, it's like they're looking at your shit like, all right, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, Cardi
don't care nothing about you.
She's definitely gonna turn into one of the ones where you can't drop same time as her.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna be able to drop same time. You know, but I mean, they're all different systems, and everybody's constantly working on music. Some people share their information, some people don't, and a lot of people don't because they're like, all right, let me see if I can I'm pretty sure Pump thought he would probably do better than a Gunna or Offset.
From what I heard, Pump was supposed to at least do 75,000, but that was with a bundle. And the tour tickets was supposed to really help that. But the tour got canceled.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that question. We got a couple more for you guys. All right. So the next one. Rappers like J. Cole or Drake have done a great job at maturing their image and music right before our eyes. How do this generation of rappers that want longevity go about making that change without changing the perception of themselves in a negative way? What's one artist under 25 that is able to make that jump and one that will struggle to? All right, so we could start with the first half of this question. So sort of how do you evolve and grow without losing the appeal that you currently have? Like if you have an image like Lil Pump, again, maybe not the best example, but just because we just talked to him, how would you like start making that transition to like where like a Kendrick or Cole are?
Well, I think you got to recreate yourself. I'll use...
Pick a better example.
No, I pick like Lil Wayne, right? So Lil Wayne... I say Lil Wayne could always rap. Like, he could always rap, but he wasn't respected for lyricism, like, early in his career, right? So I think what changed his trajectory was when he got more into lyricism and started, it kind of threw people off that a guy from New Orleans would be rapping kind of like up here. Like, you know, he was kind of patterning Jay-Z's style as to how he delivered. That kind of changed his trajectory and helped him grow because everybody always equated him to just wobbly, drop it like it's hot.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't think that he would be more than that. A lot of people didn't think Cash Money would be as far as they had gotten. And I attribute that to growth. A lot of these kids today, I don't know if they really want to grow. Every time I see a lot of artists, I just see them, I'm trying to get a bag right now. Like, I don't know, like.
Tyler's actually a good example.
Absolutely.
Right? The way people looked at him when he came out, like you said, they didn't care about anything. They were just having fun, to having his own festival, to launching all those cartoon shows, like building out, right? Even if it's not just lyricism necessarily. But
when you look at Tyler's career early on, if you, aside from his music, because I listen to everything, I mean, Bastard up till now, but if you look at everything in his interviews, he always said about things that he thought he wanted to do in the future. A lot of these kids don't even really do interviews like that. If they do, they just really one-word answers. Yeah, yeah, I started rapping a year ago. I'm gonna go wherever the money takes me. Like, you know, you don't really get a narrative as to where they want to be. When you see a person like a Tyler said, with our future, he was trying to build out a collective and build himself as a solo artist. So, I mean, I think it's really particular to who the artist is. You know?
What do you think? Do you just have to have the vision?
I think it's unfair to compare most of these newer rappers in terms of longevity or in terms of the way how longevity was achieved by like a Drake and J. Cole. Like those dudes from their first project, they introduced you to their story, and fans, especially with J. Cole, you were growing with him. Every album, every song, you were maturing with him with the music. There's a lot of these new dudes, like even it could be one project in, you don't even know what is Gunna's story. Keep it 100. What's Gunna's story?
What's the story?
What is the story that you've realized through music? It's not only a Little Pump.
Yeah.
You can't tell the story. So the big difference between like these newer artists and a Cole and a Drake is that from the first project, you were growing with them. Like you're now invested in the story. These dudes, they have a song or they have hits, but you're not invested into their story. So as maybe 10 years down the line, if they don't have the popular sound or they're not making the popular music, you have zero reason to be still invested into why they're still rapping.
Well, I would say just specifically because you mentioned Gunna, like now in his music, he might not might not have a story, but I watched one of his recent interviews, and he was just talking about like how long it took him, like how he met Thugger, how long it took him being around Thugger of continuously dropping songs. He's dropped shit. This might be like his 4th project. He was on Drip Season. He was on Drip Season 3. This is Drip or Drown 2, right? So what's that, 5 projects? There's a lot of them I haven't heard, but this is the first one where people are kind of accepting him. So I think it's a little bit unfair to put that on him because we still got to give him time. Like this is kind of like his debut this is the biggest look he's gotten.
But so how much time, if he's saying with like a Kendrick or Cole from day one, from the first mixtape, they started painting a picture?
They're different type of artists though. They're different type of artists.
Like what I mean is like, he's not even rapping about shit that you can invest in. Like for example,
most rappers don't rap about shit that you can invest in that still make it like.
Okay, but if we're talking about longevity, we're comparing it to Cole and Drake. That's exactly why.
That's the highest bar to compare it to.
That's what I'm saying. It's unfair.
But that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be
think about
just
G Herbo.
them.
Think about G Herbo. I remember listening to G Herbo 2013, Ballin' Like I'm Kobe. I thought that shit was phenomenal, and it was different. I remember when people recommended me to listen to it, I'm like, this is drill. I quickly realized it's not drill, but what was bigger about that particular project more than anything was that I heard that nigga's story. Like he was rapping about a world and going through life and how things around it made him feel, how he was learning to become a man. That when I listen up to now Swerve, but when I'm listening to his current projects, I'm seeing him, like, again, it's different than...
That's a growing...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's missing from a lot of these new artists in terms of the growth and longevity. That's part of the reason I want to listen to G Herbo.
I mean, but that's why I said a lot of them is just like, they just trying to get money. It's like when I see, every time I see a new artist and like, and I'm entertained by a lot of this shit, but now the typical video, before it used to be like just product shots, them rolling up, smoking. Now it's just somebody shaking the camera and them pointing a bunch of guns and then counting a bunch of money. It's like, when I see that, it usually makes me say, oh, okay, well, you just one of many. But I don't, unless they put out a project or unless they have a narrative within who they are, because everybody's not going to do it through their music. Some people, like Tyler, when people first seen Tyler, it's like, who is this nigga eating bugs and shit? Like, nobody was taking that shit serious, and now you look up maybe 9 years later, and he's had a career. So I think that sometimes you
But it was in his music, though. If you listen to Flower Boy, like, you see a lot of growth.
But that's such a recent album,
that's recent, bro.
considering the first
I'm talking
few
about
years
when
of
he
Tyler.
when they put out the first Odd Future tape with the clown on it, then he put out Bastard, then he put out, what was it, Goblin?
Yeah, remember he was getting all the backlash for his like lyrics that were super controversial. I feel like from that point to Flower Boy, that's a long journey.
That's a long journey.
So I'm just saying there's
that's a
other
really
routes.
Long journey. Yeah, that's a really long journey because he was saying, all right, first he was saying a lot of things. They was calling him a homophobe and all that, and then he started saying, well, I've been gay. Like, you know what I mean? This whole time, and then people didn't know how to take that because he did so much of somewhat bashing what people would think. I just looked at him as rhyming words, but so much bashing. But my fault, guys.
I was gonna say, how about another one like Lil Yachty? Of course, still very early, right? However you feel about his music. Remember we talked about him doing, was it like the Target commercial, and then he's gonna do the How High? Like MTV, does that not count as maturity, even if it's not purely like lyricism, like Yachty pouring his heart out in his music?
Go ahead.
So, I'll bring up Pump. And I think when I said this,
finish the Yachty thing first, though.
No. Yeah, I'm getting on to Yachty. But when, like, on Pump, I remember I said this before his album came out, and I think you guys chuckled, but I was like, I'm looking to see some growth. And I think you guys acknowledge that he's pretty young, but you know what it is? Like, yo, after, like, you get one hit, and then you have that popular sound that people want to hear, but then it starts to change. And if you don't start giving people unless you're just gonna continue riding the trend of wherever it goes, if you don't give people a reason to fuck with you, like, I think a lot of people are gonna call what Pump just put out a sophomore slump. Think about Yachty. I think Yachty is still going through that right now with his music, where I think he tried, like, for example, Teenage Emotion, he tried to do some different things, and then the fans didn't really accept it. Now, he's on a musical journey of trying to figure out what he wants to do with his growth, also trying to appease the fans what they want in the moment. So I think, again, of course, like, he does a lot of things outside music that's great, but I think he's trying to go and traverse that journey by himself, because we saw where he did a what was the project right before the last one that did great, and then his numbers dropped a little bit. But he's trying to do that. So don't get him wrong. Like, he's actually trying to do that.
Yeah.
You have to do that, though,
Well, I think
if you're trying to last.
With Yachty specifically, like his brand is bigger than his music, like, you know, and is grown to that. But even a lot of people, you know, the song I love from Yachty, Minnesota. Like, that's my favorite song because he had one of the realest hooks ever. You need to stay up out the streets if you can't take the heat because it get cold like Minnesota. Like, but everybody looked at him as a fucking joke. Yeah. When he had that song. But to me, that was like one of the realest things you could possibly say, especially when you're talking to young kids. But now he's grown his brand of who he is bigger than his actual music. Because I don't think that the way he does music, if he stayed in that same pocket, would sustain. Like he would have to grow. But at the same time, I'm not seeing Yachty jumping on like this lyrical tangent out of nowhere to become like.
I feel like as more opportunity, as hip hop continues to grow and more opportunities come up to branch out, I don't think the focus is going to be on lyricism. But I do think you make a very good point, growing with an artist through their music. So Kentrell, who asked this question, there was one last part. Can we name one artist under 25 that we think can make this jump? One that will struggle to, but I think that second part is a little bit too easy. So can you think of a rapper under the age of 25 who you think is gonna?
I don't know a lot of these niggas' ages, but I mean, I would say. But it's kind of me. I say JID.
Okay.
Like I think JID, but he doesn't make like.
How old is JID?
Yeah, how old is JID? But I think JID, he's 27. Or
28. All right, look, the 25 age limit is really hard. Can we just
I think he's gonna have a long career though. I think JID is gonna have a long career.
Yeah, I agree. Ak?
G Herbo.
Huh?
G Herbo.
G Herbo. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's like under 25. Right?
I don't know.
Corday. I think Corday could definitely have a longevity. I mean, the thing is, like, you know, a lot has been put on Corday, and people are still waiting for his first project. But I think that he's gonna be one of the ones that has the ability to build. You know, he's only 21 right now.
I think he has a talent to it. I think you still have to. I want to see those records.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. For some reason, I just match longevity with introspection.
You surprise me every once in a while. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't be knowing how to take act.
You never know where he's gonna go.
The average shelf life of an artist is like 3 years.
Yeah,
you know? And that's because you become the thing at the time.
Yeah.
Like right now, if I was talking to Blueface, I'd be like, Blueface, you're gonna be hot right now until 2023. And then we're gonna see if you could make the music, either reinvent yourself or continue to find something else hot to continue.
Yeah.
You know, like the music game is a tough game. It's like a rapper's like a running back. You're not built to last.
The thing is, you got to be an artist first. Like if you're an artist first and you want to build like artistically, the thing that I don't like seeing about growth is like how a dude could upgrade their, artists specifically could upgrade their life every year. New house, new car, new crib, new girl, same music.
Word.
You know what I mean? Like everything that got you here, you'll keep the same, but you won't change you'll change everything else. New crew, all types of shit. So
that was profound, Wayno.
Yeah, I think that you just got to build, really build on being an artist and saying, all right, where's my end goal? You got to think about the day when everybody isn't thinking of you being the best or the hottest.
It's very true. All right, let's see if we can get to another one.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the game also the game has done that. Like I've listened to every Game album and I've listened to I remember when he was in the booth crying over Dr. Dre, crying. You know what I mean? To now, you know, he's definitely pretty good. He's in a good position in his career still. Okay,
let's see what we got next. Ooh, there's a very introspective question for us here about the role that we play as media, but let's save that one for tomorrow. Let's do this one. Question from 502 Jay. Hey everybody, if an artist has a good team and body of work, why do they sometimes still get overlooked by bigger brands or even local brands like radio stations and local DJs?
This is a good one because this is the biggest problem I have in New York. I feel like a lot of people, they play double dutch when it comes to artists. And what I mean by that is double dutch is a game of hesitation to the right moment, right? And they'll watch an artist and be like, yo, we want to fuck with him, but wait, he's making some, he's hot, but he's making some bad moves. Let's see if he could get past this. And I feel like sometimes they might be not making the right moves because they're not privy to certain information or they don't have mentorship from the hip hop community, which it takes everybody. But people they really just wait to pick to see where they can fit in. That's why.
And also sometimes if you just are getting enough attention otherwise.
Right. And when it comes to the brands, I want all these young kids to know, I don't want to be disrespectful, but fuck a lot of these brands, because like these brands want you to be loyal to them when they're just seeding you product. They won't be giving you a check, they'll just be seeding you product and want you to not go fuck with somebody else. But they not trying to put no ring on your finger. You feel me? So until you make that decision for you, fuck whatever brand that you like.
Okay, Ak, what do you think? So I'm sure artists hit you up all the time. Sure, some of them have great music and they have a great team, but what makes you even decide if you're going to support them or not?
Me particularly, well, I was going to speak about
and wider.
Yeah. Like for me, I don't know. Mine is just like a personal taste. I only post what I like. You know what I mean? So like the people, the artists, like for example, I was really resistant. Like there was a bunch of like girls telling me about like, yo, Blueface. I didn't really. I'm like, man, you guys are riding this nigga's dick. But then I liked the song. Once I liked the song, and then I was like, okay, I'm into this. I was all on board. You know what I mean? But that's just me. I always look at like radio. Like for example, you'll see a bunch of artists from New York claim they don't get a lot of support from New York radio, but New York radio do support New York artists. It's just certain New York artists. I
certain ones.
I think the radio game, just like many other things, it's like to push a record to radio isn't just because you're within a city and kind of hot. Like that's why labels get involved. You really got to work this thing. Like niggas, like I know this is like the taboo thing in hip hop, but payola exists, all that shit happens, and it's not because you're the hot artist or like you got some buzz means the DJs are gonna like support you. Until they feel you could do something for them, they ain't got no reason to support you.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like I think people look at people who promote music or radio stations as what they could do for the artist, not also in return.
Yeah, absolutely. It got to be hand in hand. But at the same time, what I don't like, and I've seen it before, it'll be like DJs or whomever, and they'll like the artist, they'll like the song, and they still won't play it. Like literally, like won't play it or won't push to get it play until it gets. I've seen it happen too many times where artists will go get popping, and specifically in New York, artists will get popping somewhere else. That's why I always say, like with A Boogie didn't get popping in New York because of New York radio. He got popping because of kids on social media, and these kids on social media was sharing this shit amongst their schools. And then it's like everybody's hearing about this kid, nobody's taking it serious, and then you go see one of his all ages shows, and the shit is all packed out. But a lot of people, if you actually like the song, you could jump on it early.
Do you think it's a ratings issue at that point? If the DJ personally likes a song but won't play it because they feel like enough people that they know aren't talking about it?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. They also want to be hot too. They want to be the one that's ahead of the curve, but they also want to be ahead of the curve with something that everybody likes.
Right.
But sometimes you won't know what everybody likes unless you play the shit. You know, but but like I like the point that Ak made where it has to go hand in hand. Like you can't want me to play a record and then I send you 15 drops and you don't do one, and you like, or I tell you to come through and just play me some music, and then you don't want to come through, or you come late, whole time you on your phone looking down. Like it takes a lot to make it in this game.
Yeah, and also say you're a radio DJ, it's like, yo, so I'm gonna take a chance on breaking your record that's gonna help your career. Like we all see what happens. Like you'll help artists blow up. That artist don't even fuck with you after you help them blow up. Now I'm looking at like, I don't got no stake in your career, no nothing. I just get the satisfaction that I broke a record for you.
Well, I mean, that's, at the same time, I've never been a DJ, so I can't say that's exactly what DJs have to do, but one of the things about being a DJ is being ahead of the curve. I mean, like always having the newest thing, whether it's specifically for that artist, it's about being about the people. I'm pretty sure DJ Clue, when he was making all these mixtapes, DJ Envy, when they was making these mixtapes and they was getting exclusives for people, they wasn't tied to everybody who they put the new freestyle up's career. Sometimes it's just about giving somebody an opportunity and see what they could do with the opportunity. Now everybody's not deserving of that opportunity is the thing. You know, you gotta work to have that opportunity. Just because you rap and you feel like you speaking real shit does not give you the right to say, oh, y'all should play my shit or y'all should acknowledge me. You gotta be doing things, and I think that goes a lot into having your team. Like you gotta have a team that keeps a relationship with the DJ when the artist starts losing itself a bit. You know?
Yeah, I look at just say like Cardi B and like even DJ Self. Like there's a certain type of push when people feel invested in you a little bit more than just, hey, I like the record. When there's a little bit more like, and I don't know how that could really materialize, but like when people feel like they're invested in you and like they're like, yo, they're behind the movement fully, it's a different type of push rather than like, yo, this guy Wayno got this cool song. I'm gonna play one time, but I might just play one time and y'all just be like, who? You know what I mean? Go back to the regular shit you normally play.
And then one last thing, it's like when you see, but then when you see artists that are out here moving and shaking, like what it took for us to talk about Dream Doll, for her to diss Tory Lanez. She been putting out mixtapes for a minute, you know what I'm saying? And I think that because she might not be getting a lot of coverage, and specifically in New York, the radio stations, they act like Bloods and Crips, like, I don't fuck with this person, so I don't fuck with them. I think that, no, everybody doesn't have to be buddied up, and I understand it's competition, but we all in the same game. If there was a little bit of people getting over their egos, the city could just move a little bit forward.
Yeah.
And the people have to support it too, right?
Absolutely.
It's like they want you to put on unknown artists and play new music, but then when they do, the audience tunes out. It happens with us sometimes.
Absolutely.
It's like, you guys don't cover these artists. When we do the you can see the numbers dip, and when it's a big artist and a scandal, the numbers are back up. So it's a sick circle.
I even look at how like Atlanta moves with it, man. Like a lot of artists' careers and records were broken in the strip clubs. And you know what the artist does? That DJ who consistently plays your joint in the strip club, whatever, you take that nigga on tour. You know what I mean? You show love. You show love to niggas who show love to you.
Right.
Yeah.
I
feel me?
I think that when it comes to New York, that's the worst thing to happen to us, only because like strip club shit is not New York culture. Like that's not our thing. I think that we adapted. The thing about people in New York, we always are looking for the next hustle. What's gonna get us some bread? So it's like when the strip club shit, there's always been strip clubs, but when that shit started popping on the music level, we was like, all right, we gonna take that same ideology that they use and try to make music work here, but it might work in a strip club, but it's not translating to radio. And a lot of these DJs is on radio, but strip clubs is not New York culture. That's Atlanta thing. Down south, that's they shit. It's a different level down there than it is here. New York, they don't even spend money like that. They don't throw no money in strip clubs up here.
But that's a good handshake system, though.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
It's a good handshake system. I mean, I see somewhat in New York, like, I see a lot of like artists. They do pop out for DJs. Like they got a club appearance or whatever, like, or they DJing or whatever. You just pop out, show them some love. But it has to be that handshake system, because still, like, and that's what I was talking about when we were talking about just album sales, Offset, Gunna, Pump, like that. The club scene still matters a lot in terms of driving what the inner city is into. You get me? Like that still matters. You could argue if radio matters a lot, but like.
Radio definitely matters.
What actually is played in those nightclubs every single night, was actually hot in that setting, still matters a lot.
Gotcha.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Another great comprehensive answer here. Thank you for that question. We probably only have about 3 minutes left. I'll let you guys pick. We could do one more quick fan question or a quick hit or two.
What's our quick hits, man?
Your boy Tyga.
Man, I don't know.
I really don't care.
Fan question.
It's not too tight, yeah.
No.
So tight. They try, man. It's a conspiracy going on, man. Tyga had one of the biggest comebacks ever, and now everybody's down at him.
Nah, we still rooting for Tyga to win.
I'm wondering if this is like, I don't even know if she would do that. Like, we had Tyga up here, yo, and he denied like stories like this.
So you're saying you want to do a fan question instead?
I mean, again, I'm just saying I don't care. Tyga denied that he ever got anything repoed, so a story coming out that he was mad over something being repoed. Who am I believing? TMZ or Tyga?
Right.
I talked to Tyga directly.
All right, everybody, leave Tyga alone. We're gonna do one quick fan question. How about this one from AJ Shamar? Who are some of the best rappers at incorporating other genres into their music? I'd say Mac Miller with jazz and Anderson .Paak with soul. Of course, someone like Chance uses a lot of gospel.
I say one of the newest ones. He passed away. X was good at that. Like X was really good at that. I always say like I wasn't a big fan of his music, but I listened to a few of his albums, and that shit sounded like the same way like a compilation. Tory Lanez as well. Like Tory Lanez, we already know he the hip hop chameleon. That nigga could do anything.
He's the greatest artist in the world. Period.
He could do anything. But I say like X has been recently good with that. Tory. Who else? I mean, even Drake. Yeah, Drake with Grime. But not only shit, Drake got a whole song singing in Spanish. Like, every time I hear that shit, I be like, what the fuck is going on, So I would say
that's
Drake
on fire.
It's a fire song, but it just bugs me out because I just think of like, when we always talk about the
Tory's
best.
doing a Spanish album, I know, right?
When is it coming? I feel like
been 2 years
this for,
Spanish album.
That's good. When?
Ever heard of Pop Me? Oh my God. Yeah, Tory singing in Spanish is crazy out here, man. He went to the DR to record that. He went to the natural habitat.
But I mean, I think that shit, Drake is kind of in the past decade has been kind of like the bar for kids to follow as to changing their sound in music,
this conversation, I can't even start it without just giving kudos to Kanye, because Kanye took all the arrows for all these niggas to prosper on that.
Now you sound like Kanye tweeting. All right.
No, he did though. I mean, he dropped a trash ass album to do it, like Yeezus.
But
he had dancehall, rock. He had it on the same track.
Well, if you're gonna go Kanye, I gotta go a little bit before that and give Andre 3000 some credit too.
All right, we're going like way
I'm just
back.
saying,
I feel
Andre
like we were talking about contemporary.
No, of course.
No, those legends, of course,
he didn't just invent. Kanye didn't invent, but I think he tried to like before that dancehall wave came. Kanye was trying to do that. You know what I mean? Again, I didn't think he executed it all that well. But the idea was there, and we had to give him the criticism for other people to play around with it at more of a liberty. You get me? So yeah, I would definitely throw Kanye in the mix. You know what I mean?
I was thinking people newer. I feel like Kanye was a pretty obvious choice. But
I feel like all these kids do everything now. It's like Juice WRLD, like, you know what I mean? Juice WRLD is one of the kids that does shit like that. But I think that all of these kids now, I don't even look for them. It's kind of fucked up, but when I listen to rap now, the first thing I'm not listening to is for bars anymore, because a lot of these kids don't really have them. You know?
All right.
I'm trying to think of some other people who incorporate. I don't know.
You keep thinking. Maybe we'll get back to this one tomorrow because we got to go.
Okay.
All right. Thank you guys for sending the questions. Keep sending them. And we will see you here tomorrow on Everyday Struggle.
Did y'all know that Soulja Boy dissed me and Tiger on the track?
Oh, yeah?